India opened up in 1981. Now, because of this big issue, who will invest
Who will
in
invest in
India?
India?
Correct. And as a result, there was a big, and especially not for profit. They're not taxed in the US, but they are taxed in India. So it's a, they are major investors as well. Anyway, cutting whole story short, so I started looking at different jurisdictions
Jurisdictions.
and tumbled on Mauritius. So I said, this is a strange treaty where India says, we will not
We will
tax
not
your
tax.
company. Because in hindsight, what had happened, this treaty was signed in 1984. When India was exporting Fiat cars, Bajaj, all those textile machineries and everything to Mauritius. Because from Mauritius, India and South Africa could not trade. So a lot of people would go to Mauritius, Mauritius to Maputo, Maputo to South Africa and all that kind of thing. But more importantly, there were a lot of export even for domestic consumption in Mauritius. So when I went, I said, where is this Mauritius? Mauritius, Malta, Maldives, everything looks like similar
Yeah.
country, right? And I went there and I said, let me see what the country looks like. So I went there, it's a nice island and all that. I met some professionals to ask whether can you set up an offshore company here. They say, we don't have regime. Why don't you help us? And somebody connected me to the minister in Mauritius. And then we sat in the afternoon and I said, maybe it will be useful because Mauritius-India treaty did not even have limitation of treaty benefit article. Okay. And therefore, I said, if can US companies incorporate in Mauritius, Mauritius can invest in India. And legitimately it was permissible. The idea is that when people will earn tax-free capital gains from India to Mauritius, there is no tax. Okay. But Mauritius to US are taxed on worldwide tax. So they are still going to pay tax. But the most important thing is avoidance of double tax. So whole purpose of Mauritius treaty structure was not to avoid tax, which most people think, tax avoidance and stuff like that. The purpose was to avoid double
Double
taxation of the same
taxation.
income, and that's how it started. And then, the very first company I set up. In fact, it was very interesting. They didn't know how to write tax residency certificate. So first tax residency certificate I wrote in my own hand.
Okay.
Yeah, help them to develop offshore center and all those kind of thing, and help them to set up, other environment, company law, and other changes. We brought it, and anyways, going back, a lot of things happen. So first 5 funds, India again. In the US, what I learned, fund was a big industry.
India didn't
And
have.
when I started in 1991 talking about funds, most people laughed. They said, oh, you're talking cheat funds, CHEAT. Because cheat fund was the people were cheating with
Correct.
the fund and all those kind of things going on. And it was embarrassing to talk about fund. Today people take pride.
Yeah.
Okay, so markets change like nobody's business. And so first 5 funds, first index fund, public market fund, FI, first private equity capital, George Soros Chase Capital, uh, first venture capital fund for India. All the 5 funds set up in Mauritius, and also domestic Indian fund, AIG, ILFS and all that. So it was very interesting. So a lot of investments started coming. Tax department was very enthusiastic on giving treaty benefit and all that thing. They gave treaty residency certificate, acceptance, there no withholding tax, blah, blah, blah. But when India started getting a lot of money, after 5-10 years, started issuing notices. And then we had all the problems,
Yeah.
and ultimately in 2004, Azadi Bachao Andolan came up, and we represented all the foreign investors who invested in India through Mauritius, and Supreme Court revalidated the opinion that I gave in 1991-92.
Wow.
So that was quite.
But you've done first of so many kinds. I mean, be it first of, like you said, you've did the taxes. What is something which is closest to you out of, you've done so many first of kinds.
The reason is that typically I started enjoying thinking and ideating new ideas. So I said, if I spend on routine work, then I will not have any time to think. And what I felt was that, um, uh, if I take one case, every case has become precedent of its type. So I think that I should not be arguing cases. It sets a precedent where I go to the court and say this case is covered by so and so. I'll make money,
You'll,
but I think I'm not contributing because it's already done. So typically my approach is if I can create new jurisprudence, okay, for every case, then I have contributed to the community something. So my enjoyment is finding new ideas, new interpretation, it gives me a little more time to think, read, ideate. Otherwise I'll be, doing whole day the same thing and nothing right or wrong. I'm not being judgmental or any approach. But I feel my feel is that ideating, doing something new, innovative, is then it became part of the game. So created a lot of first, whether it's first SPAC transaction for Renew, $8 billion, or NIF, whole structure, first of its kind, private sector sovereign fund. Okay, that ideation, again, it's another story. Each one has his own
so
story.
many first of the kinds.
So, Gift City, it is another long story. So I had taken Prime Minister to Singapore in
Or
2007.
to show that this.
What had happened, he wanted to set up infrastructure fund for Gujarat. He couldn't travel. So I had taken him to Singapore where he could travel and then introduced him to GIC, Tamasek, and also Minister Thurman, who is my friend, he is now President of Singapore. I introduced him. He was Minister of Finance and Education. Very down-to-earth person. And so connected him and we met and all that. So in the evening we are walking on a boat quay, the Singapore River
Yeah.
boat quay.
Yes.
And when I took him there and all that, so he said, yeah, what a great place they have made. I said, we can also do it in India. And this place is such where zillionaire also walks and billionaire also walk together. It's a true socialist, capitalist kind of environment. So like that we had conversations. So we walked one way. On the way back, he says, how come these people have developed such a nice financial center? I said, we can also do it. Okay. I had helped Mauritius. And I had written a book in 1983 in which I had written a chapter, why not make Andaman Nicobar a free zone?
Okay.
So when he said, oh, this is a great idea, can you give me a note? I said, Minister को तो note ही चाहिए. It's easier to say, but difficult. लिखना कितना मुश्किल है आपको पता है मेरे से भी. तो the next day I pulled out chapter from my book and I said, here's a framework. And what had happened in hindsight was that Mauritius came up in 2002. Singapore did not have good fund regime. They were charging 18% on GST, and on the management fees and all those kind of thing. And Minister Thurman had suggested me to talk to tax department. So we worked with them. Eventually, it's 50% now, about 8-9%, whatever it is. So I had some role in Singapore development of fund industry. So some experience of Mauritius, something. So I had some credibility, if not too much. And so when I gave, Modi is like, king of his own place, right? So when we went back in Oberoi, there was a big meeting, and I and my wife just were standing last because we were a little late. He saw my grey hair, and he said, Nishith Desai suggested we should set up a financial center, so we'll have it in Gandhinagar, and Gift City came up.
Oh, that's the
2007.
Wow.
It was not notified for 5 years until 2013. But then 2013 it got notified. Fortunately, he became Prime Minister in 14, and then the rest is history. And still it was not picking up for 5 years, And so I said that 1 lakh crores of landed asset of public was held up with just 2 buildings on the ground for a long period of time. And the reason was, and I had conversation. So I said, what we need is like what Mauritius did. Mauritius had Offshore Business Activities Authority, MOBA, which had ability to approve every kind of grant, every approval. Whereas in Gift City, if you want to set up something, 10 different ministries have to approve. So who's going to come?
Who's going to come?
Then decided to have this IFCA, International Financial Services Center Authority. So that came up, and after that you have seen it's not looking back.
Yeah,
There's a
it's
lot
like
of
a game
interest, a
changer.
lot of other kind of stuff coming up. So that's a little bit of history on Gift City. So like this, it's fun.
Yeah, I mean that's what I'm saying. First of so many kinds, you must be feeling very proud of what you've achieved.
Yeah, it becomes part of DNA. NDS DNA is innovation.
No, like first of kind, I think so. I don't see any, I would say, a law firm or any firm which having global offices. I mean, today, yes, I feel it's time where Indian professional services firm are going global. But maybe when you have an office in Silicon Valley, New York, Singapore, so that's also I think so first of a kind where you went
Yeah,
global.
so what happened was that in 1990, later part, technology, and I was already into that zone. So when a lot of work started happening, more and more work happened with Silicon Valley. And the Silicon Valley entrepreneurs threw a fairly big party in to celebrate my 50th birthday. I hope I don't look older than that today. So this is my 53rd year of legal practice now.
Oh
Okay.
wow.
Hopefully I'm not looking that old. So they celebrated that and suggested, why don't you set up office here? And I found that it was easier to open an office in Silicon Valley than in Delhi. Sorry, no disrespect meant, I'm just in lighter vein, so nobody should take offense. But, you know, so I said, why not take, we expected foreign law firms will come into India in 1991 when India opened up, right? It did not happen. So I had designed the firm in mind that someday market will open up. And I thought it will be 1990s. But today after 40 years it's still struggling. Then I said, okay, foreign law firms are not able to open. I would go there. Nothing stops me. So we opened office there, and it's again a lot of stories around that. But and I said we do comparative law studies, so we know both sides. But we only practice Indian law. So we have special license to practice Indian law in California because law is a licensed practice. Even foreign law is a licensed practice. So to practice foreign law also you need a license. So we have special license to practice Indian law. So we do everything overall and always work with local law firm. So it's a complementary,
Rather than a
and
competition.
rather than why should I reinvent the wheel doing
Of
US
course. Yeah.
implementation and all that. But we can take a whole picture. So we are known today as global legal architects. So like architect, they are both technical and aesthetics and uh, putting together a structure and all that. So global weather. Today, actually, more work that we do is from non-Indian companies into non-India regions. So foreign companies, they're expanding in Saudi, Dubai, London, or Netherlands, or Brazil, or whatever. I'm just giving example. So I think that has become core. So, you got to rise above the regular thing. So, because of comparative law studies and, legal issues, jurisdictional issues, cultural issues, so you are able to design and we can rather give work to them. Typical model is foreign law firms give work to Indian
Indian
law.
firms, yeah.
So people chase them.
Correct.
Rather, I say, I will feed you because developing country
Yeah.
contributes to develop
That's
now,
even
no?
bigger.
So
Nothing like that.
it's a little fun,
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
So we put together and focus on futuristic technology. So look to 8, 10, 15, 20 years from now and then see what's likely to happen.
I mean, when you started, did you face resistance? Not, I would say, maybe not from the market, but from hiring people that, this is the thing which you're trying to build. Did you get people to work with you in the beginning?
Uh, like solo practitioner, you know, single person starting new in 1990. They're all big law firms, very nice firm. We learned a lot with the Mullah and Mullah, Crawford Bailey's, Little and Company. They're iconic and professionals were so good. And I learned from them. But you know, thing was that who will join me,
Correct.
right? So that because starting new and people, yeah, somebody will come here and there. So I couldn't find juniors. So eventually, what happened was that there was one electronics engineer. He came crying at my home, saying that Nishith, by my life's dream is shattered. I said, what happened? He was with his father and all that thing. He said, no, I am a first class electronics engineer and, I got admission in a top school in the US, but my visa is declined. So he thought I was immigration lawyer.
Okay.
I said, a lawyer is lawyer, but not that everything we do. And he said, can you call up consul general and get me visa? I said, it doesn't happen that way, because person on the window is more powerful than
Yes,
consul
correct.
himself. So then say, now what do? I don't know. Then I said, I know only one thing, law. Why don't you do law? So he said, whatever you say, I'll do it.
Oh,
So next day I said, you come. And I had some computer. So I said, no. And those days to repair computer and all that was a problem. So he's the electronics engineer. I said, you repair computer whenever, those days printer goes out of order. Then you have to place an order, send it to the repairer, give advance check and all that kind of stuff, and take 1 week to come back. And I say, here is engineer, so you repair my computer. So he started repairing computer. And second job I said, you do is to mark in the newspaper every morning those days. That was our internet. A newspaper we take, we mark it, we cut it, put it on a file, subject wise organized. So internet was physical
physical
internet we
internet.
had. So I could refer to anything. Because law is more appearing in the newspapers than in the law books, because printing and other things takes time. So he started doing that. After 3 years, he finished law and
Joined you.
he joined me, but he passed out, and I got invitation to speak at Pacific Telecom Commission in Hawaii. I said, now you are a lawyer, just go. He applied again, but saying that I am a lawyer specializing in telecom. Telecom was the flavor of the market at that time, and he joined me. So first starting point was like electronics engineer becoming lawyer. Then there was stenographer. I found that stenographers learn more than lawyers those days. That second one I found stenographer who was working for Air India. He joined me. I made him to the law. Then one lady came. She was gold medalist chartered accountant, and she thought I was chartered accountant. I said I am not a chartered accountant. 10 times I total. 10 times I go wrong. You want to join? I am a lawyer. She joined, and she is Shefali Goradia. She is now chairperson of the techs in
One of the big fours.
one of the big fours. 14 years she was with me. My only regret is she didn't do law. I hope she would have done it. But anyway, it was a wonderful relationship, and I think I think I found one thing, that you can take different talent from different faculties and create something new. So now we have PhD in AI, medical surgeon turned lawyers, we have social scientists turned lawyers, we have other kind of MBAs and all those, but most of them have done law and then work around that. So that adds me up to understanding things and visualize what new technology will come, and we visualize what will be the future strategic, legal, tax, or ethical issues. That's how it built up.
So you understand the concept first and then work on the legal
Yeah.
aspect.
You have to understand industry, technology, and then you can, look at what are the legal or tax implications.
So what's your view on AI? And okay, it's a very broad question, but coming from AI, the way it's growing, I mean, it changes every week. You have something new. How do you think that will affect the legal profession or the professional services profession, and for the good or the bad? And the reason why I'm asking is because when you talk to core professionals or core lawyers, they still want to, they're very close to the law, right? They want to practice law. And today, how firms are growing, it seems that firms have become more digital firms, or what we see in the market is they're going towards more digital than actually going towards the core practice area. So how do you think, I mean, AI obviously a very broad question, and I know you're working a lot in that, but how do you think will affect the profession? Because considering at least the new age, the Gen Zs who are coming in, they have more tech related brain, and they maybe don't want to spend so much time doing R&D.
See, whatever is very routine work will all get automated.